There comes a moment in every significant journey when the world grows silent. The path that once seemed clear, full of purpose and direction, suddenly fades into stillness. This is not a moment of punishment, but one of preparation. It is not that you have been forgotten. Rather, you are being observed, not to test if you will succeed, but to see if you will trust. To witness whether you will stand firm even when there is no applause, no breakthroughs, and no assurances, only faith. Before you are granted something extraordinary, there is a need to make space within you to receive it. And that space is not formed in moments of comfort or light, but in times of darkness, in the quiet of stillness. This is where the deepest growth occurs, not in the moment of receiving, but in the stretch, the trial, and the waiting. If you feel stuck, know this: you are not. You are being refined. You are being aligned so perfectly that, when the moment arrives, you will not be broken under its weight. Divine wisdom is never slow. It is strategic, carefully preparing you for what is to come. The delay is not a sign of abandonment, but an act of shaping, for something grand is never given to a fragile spirit. It is bestowed upon those who have walked through fire, waited without answers, stood still when the temptation to flee arose, and obeyed when escaping would have been easier. So if you feel forgotten or abandoned, if the silence grows louder than your pleas, consider this: it is not absence but preparation. When divine guidance is about to move in your life, it first moves within you. The silence that surrounds you is not a delay, but the calm before the shift. It is the quietude that comes when the universe is rearranging things to align with a greater plan, not just around you, but within your soul. Before a person can receive something sacred, the noise is removed, not to confuse them, but to focus them. The voices, the distractions, the constant reassurance, all are cleared away. For what is coming requires a deeper trust, a deeper root. The blessing is not delayed. It is descending, and the silence is but its shadow. Much like how the air stills before a storm, your soul is prepared for the great shift that is about to occur. In that silence, the trials of doubt may arise. The temptation to believe that the silence means abandonment will grow, but this is not the case. The silence is God's way of aligning all the unseen threads, preparing the soul for what is to come. The stillness is not absence, but a divine whisper that is preparing you for the movement of the heavens. When divine intervention is loud, anyone can follow. But when it is quiet, only those who are aligned with the truth can hear. And that distinction between those who visit purpose and those who carry it is crucial. So if you find yourself in the silence, know this: you are not being punished, but positioned. You are not late, you are right on schedule. You are not empty, you are being made ready. You are being cleared to carry what is coming without breaking under its weight. There is a law of life that is universally true. Elevation follows emptiness. Before a tree grows tall, its roots go deep. Before a vessel can be filled with new life, the old must be emptied out. Before you rise, you must first release. But many resist this process. They mistake the pain of loss for the end of purpose. They mistake the emptiness for punishment. They believe that doors are closing on them when, in fact, divine wisdom is pruning their life for greater things. You cannot rise while holding on to what no longer serves your purpose. You cannot embrace the future if you are clinging to the past. And out of mercy, divine wisdom will not allow you to take the old into the new. So before you are granted something extraordinary, the unnecessary, the irrelevant must fall away. This process may look like the end of a relationship, financial hardship, betrayal, silence, confusion, or simply feeling empty. But understand this: that emptiness is not your enemy. It is God's preparation. It is the space being cleared within you, so that what is coming will not overwhelm but strengthen you. This emptiness is not failure. It is preparation for something greater. Is God making room within you for greater faith, deeper trust, and bolder action? For if the soul is filled with yesterday, it cannot carry the weight of tomorrow. The divine removes the unnecessary not to destroy, but to prepare you. He burns away the shallow, clears the path, and purges what no longer aligns with the higher purpose. And in that process, many will turn back, misinterpreting the emptiness as abandonment. They will mourn what is lost, rather than standing in faith for what is to come. But those who endure this process, those who stand firm in the emptiness, with their eyes still fixed on the horizon, will be the ones lifted up when the time is right. Once you are emptied of what is temporary and fleeting, you are finally ready to be entrusted with what is eternal. Before elevation comes emptiness. The moment you release your grip on the things that fade away, you will feel the shift. The air begins to change, the silence starts to hum, and your elevation begins, not around you, but within you. There are many who believe they have been abandoned, that they have missed the moment, or that divine grace has withdrawn. But more often than not, you have not been denied. You have simply been delayed. And this delay is not arbitrary. It is not punishment, nor neglect. It is precision. The things you have asked for are on their way, but they cannot arrive until the right conditions are met. And sometimes those conditions have nothing to do with you. Divine wisdom may be aligning another person, softening a heart, shifting a situation, or clearing an obstacle that you cannot yet see. God may be waiting for you to release something small, so He can place something much greater in your hands. From your human perspective, it may seem like nothing is happening. You cry, question, and wrestle in the dark, wondering if the promise will ever come to pass. But the truth is, the delay is part of the fulfillment. It is not a hindrance to it, but woven directly into it. The longer it takes, the more sacred the promise becomes. Divine timing does not rush. It moves in harmony with what is truly valuable. You would not rush the building of a strong foundation, nor demand instant fruit from seeds planted in dry soil. You would not deliver gold that is still half melted from the fire, and neither does God. What you perceive as delay is simply God saying, "Not yet, for what I am giving you is too important to mishandle." Had He given it to you too soon, you might have squandered it, worshipped it, or been crushed under its weight. So He waits. And while He waits, the devil speaks, whispering lies that silence means abandonment, that delay means denial. He may tell you that you are too late, too insignificant, or that you were never chosen. But do not listen to him. The devil cannot comprehend the architecture of divine timing. He cannot understand the rhythm of heaven's plan, for divine timing is not determined by your feelings, but by the perfection of the mission. Every mission has its appointed moment, a moment that arrives neither too early nor too late. So do not interpret delay as denial. God has not forgotten you. In fact, He remembers you with such precision that He refuses to allow the blessing to come in any way but right. The delay is not divine rejection. It is divine preparation. When the time is right, not when you are ready, but when the blessing is ready, it will arrive like fire through dry wood. And when it does, you will look back and thank God that it didn't come sooner. You will realize that had it arrived earlier, you wouldn't have been prepared to receive it. Many seek more influence, more clarity, more abundance, more evidence of being chosen, more recognition. But what most fail to understand is this: before God entrusts you with more, He first tests you with less. You may pray for a mountain, but He gives you a stone. You may dream of a platform for millions, but He gives you silence and solitude. You may envision grand success, but He places discipline in the shadows. Why? Because God is not interested in promoting those who are not disciplined. He does not bless egos. He blesses those who are faithful in small things. He will not elevate those still enslaved by their moods or driven by the applause of others. If you cannot be faithful with the small, you will not be able to steward the great. And so the test begins. Not when others are watching, but when no one sees. Not when the rewards are clear, but when the task seems pointless. The test comes when you are alone, when you are asked to be excellent without any external reward. You are asked to speak the truth when no one applauds. You are asked to remain consistent when there is no recognition. You are called to sacrifice when there is no guarantee of success. And this is where many fail, because they mistake this testing for the moment of promotion. But the real test comes when everything seems to be in vain. The real test is in the moments when you want to quit, but you choose not to. It is the discipline of the unseen that prepares you to carry the weight of the visible. Obscurity is not punishment. It is preparation. God is not hiding your breakthrough. He is watching how you handle this moment. For how you handle the quiet will determine how you handle the crowd. If you waste the silence, you will not be able to handle the noise. If you dishonor the seed, you will never manage the harvest. If you complain during the process, you will corrupt the promise. So, before God entrusts you with more, He tests you with less. He watches, not because He doubts you, but because He wants you to see your own strength, faith, and resolve. The test reveals who you are in the waiting, and it is sacred. If you pass this test, there will be no limit to what God will entrust you with. There is always a moment on the journey where the weight of life grows heavier, the road becomes quieter, and the destination seems far out of reach. Yet, remember that silence is not abandonment. It is preparation. Trust in divine timing, for when the moment comes, you will be ready. This is the moment when most people give up, but not always because they fail. Sometimes they succeed at the wrong thing. Let me explain. The devil does not always appear with destruction. Often, he comes disguised as convenience. He offers relief, a quicker solution. He presents an easier path, and this offer almost always appears just before the breakthrough. You've held on. You've been faithful. You've obeyed through silence, through delay, through pruning. You're right at the edge of what you were destined to carry, and that's exactly when the counterfeit shows up. The devil whispers, "Take this. You've worked hard. You deserve a break. Why keep struggling when I can give you something now?" But make no mistake, it's a distraction dressed as a gift. You'll be tempted with a quicker result, a more comfortable route, a version of success that costs your soul just enough that it goes unnoticed. He'll offer you attention when you were called to solitude. He'll offer you applause when you were meant to be refined. He'll offer validation just enough to keep you from transformation. And if you're not grounded, you may take it. Not because you're evil, but because you're tired. And that's when the devil strikes hardest. Not when you're weak, but when you're weary. He doesn't steal the blessing. He swaps it. He says, "Why wait for God's best when you can take something good enough?" And this is how many lose what was designed specifically for them, by settling for something they could manage, rather than something they were called to carry. But you must remember, the breakthrough comes only to those who pass the final test. And that test is almost always this: will you trade purpose for peace? Will you trade fire for comfort? Will you trade the divine for the immediate? Or will you stay the course? Will you stay faithful under pressure, even when another path appears? Will you trust that what you cannot yet see is still more real than what is being offered to you now? Because ease is never the mark of destiny. Purpose is not found on the path of least resistance. The crown is never given to the one who stops 1 mile short, because a shortcut looks shinier. When the offer of ease arrives, you are closer than you've ever been. So hold fast. Do not be deceived. Do not trade away what is eternal for what is convenient, because that is the devil's last move. And if he cannot stop your obedience, he will try to soften it, just enough to pull you off track. But not you. You've come too far. You've waited too long. You've obeyed too deeply. Now hold the line. What you were meant to carry is almost here. There is a law embedded in the very structure of the universe, a law that cannot be bypassed, bargained with, or cheated. The weight of your preparation is equal to the size of your calling. The greater the gift, the heavier the preparation. This is why your waiting has felt long. This is why your trials have gone deeper than most can understand. This is why others seem to succeed faster, easier, with less resistance, why you have been stretched, stripped, and forged in silence. It's not because you are forgotten. It's because you are being formed for something extraordinary. What you are being shaped to carry, others are not even qualified to imagine. God does not prepare the ordinary in the same way He prepares the chosen. A small role requires light training, but a sacred assignment demands fire. Not a spark, but a blazing fire that burns away all that is false, leaving behind a vessel that will not crack when the weight of heaven rests upon it. When the blessing comes, it will be heavy, not just with glory, but with responsibility. Not just with abundance, but with accountability. Not just with favor, but with a demand to carry it well. You do not just receive it, you must be able to sustain it. And the only way to sustain it is to be made strong enough first. Do you think Joseph received the palace without the pit? Do you think Moses led people out of slavery without first wandering the desert alone? Do you think David ruled as king without first facing lions, bears, and the betrayal of his own? Those who carry great gifts must first be tested in secret. God will test them in obscurity long before He places them in visibility. And so He prepares you. He removes what you thought you needed. He delays what you thought was urgent. He stretches your faith until it feels like it might snap, not to break you, but to show you how strong it truly is. He lets you walk through fire so that when the rain of blessings comes, you will know how to stand in both. You will know how to walk in overflow without becoming prideful. You will know how to lead others because you first learned to lead yourself. You will know how to speak truth because you had to first survive in it. You are not being punished. You are being tempered. You are being given endurance. So when the gift arrives, you will not fall under the weight of what you prayed for. Many people pray for great things, but when the blessing finally comes, it crushes them because they never allowed themselves to be prepared. They skipped the discipline. They avoided the pruning. They resisted the pressure. But pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is proof that God is still molding you, still watching, still working. If you were being ignored, you would feel nothing. No tension, no inner struggle, no resistance. But if you are in pain, spiritual pain, emotional stretching, invisible labor, you are not being overlooked. You are being crafted. So when it feels unbearable, when you want to ask, why me? Remember this, it's because of what's coming. Because of how big it is, how heavy it will be, and because God has trusted you with the weight of preparation, so you can be trusted with the weight of the promise. We often believe that we are ready. We think our hearts are prepared, our minds sharp, and our desires pure. But God sees deeper than desire. He sees beyond your words, beyond your confidence, beyond even your prayers. He sees what you are not yet ready to carry. And in His mercy, He delays, not to deprive you, but to protect you. There are blessings that seem beautiful from a distance, but up close, they carry the weight of pressure, responsibility, exposure, and temptation. If you receive them too early, they will not elevate you. They will crush you. You might pray for influence, but God knows that if your ego is too fragile, that influence would destroy your soul. You may ask for financial abundance, But he sees that without inner mastery, wealth would only magnify your self-destructive habits. You may desire love, but God knows that if you have not yet found your identity in him, you will lose yourself trying to keep someone else. So he delays, not because you are unloved, but because you are too loved to be allowed to self-destruct. Delay is not silence. It is shielding. It is God withholding what would outpace your character, what would break the spine of your discipline, what would outgrow the roots of your faith. What good is it to gain everything, yet lose your soul trying to keep it? What good is it to be seen by the world when you have not yet seen yourself in truth? What good is it to receive the promise if you lack the foundation to keep it from becoming a curse? God's delay is the invisible wall between you and what would undo you. You only see what you want. He sees what it would require. You see the blessing. He sees the burden that comes with it. If he holds it back, it is not to tease you. It is to train you. It is to give you time to develop the strength, the clarity, the stillness, and the surrender that can keep you whole. When the blessing finally comes, the enemy does not just attack you in weakness. He attacks you in elevation. The moment you receive what you've prayed for, that is when pride knocks. That is when compromise offers convenience. That is when distraction feels justified. And in his mercy, God will delay the breakthrough until he knows you will not trade it for your soul. He will not bless you into destruction. He will not elevate you into ego. He will not give you more light if your eyes still squint at truth. So if you are in delay, thank God, because that delay may be the very thing keeping you whole, keeping you sane, and keeping you aligned. He is not against your progress. He is protecting your purpose. And when the moment finally comes, when what you've prayed for walks through the door, you will be ready. You will not be shaken. You will not shrink. You will not sabotage the blessing. You will carry it with grace, strength, and obedience because God has prepared you, not just to receive it, but to sustain it. There is a season you may not understand until it's over. A season where your gifts are sharp, your spirit is hungry, and your heart is open, but the doors remain closed. No one sees you. No one calls your name. No spotlight shines in your direction. It's tempting to believe that this is failure, that you've missed your moment, that you've been overlooked. But let me tell you something sacred. God hides what he is preparing. Before he reveals a man to the world, he often hides him from it, not because he is unworthy, but because he is still becoming. Do not despise the season of obscurity. It is the forge. It is the wilderness where your name is stripped, but your nature is solidified. God is not in a hurry to make you seen. He is far more concerned with making you stable. What good is visibility if your character is cracked? What good is influence if your soul has not been anchored? In the season of hiding, God begins to cut away your dependency on applause. He breaks your addiction to being noticed. He purifies your motives. He sharpens your ears to hear only his voice. Because if he revealed you too soon, you would bend under the weight of others' opinions. You would crumble at the first criticism. You would alter your calling to fit the approval of people who were never part of your assignment. So he hides you, not to punish you, but to protect your purpose. And while you're hidden, you're being built. You're being tested in the dark to prove that your obedience was never about being seen. You're being asked to show up without applause, to be excellent when no one is clapping, to speak truth even when no one listens. This is how God knows you are ready. If you can carry fire in obscurity, you will carry it with humility in the light. If you can walk with power while invisible, you will not be seduced when the world finally sees you. And let me tell you something else. When God hides you, he is not just building you. He's also building the platform you'll stand on. He's aligning the right people. He's clearing the wrong ones. He's setting the stage so that when you step onto it, There will be no scrambling, no forcing, no pretending. It will fit because it was made for the version of you that was forged in hiding. So, do not rush out of the shadows. Do not demand to be seen before the time, for the one who reveals himself before the appointed moment will always have to carry the weight of sustaining himself. And that weight is unbearable. But the one who waits, the one who allows God to finish the private work before stepping into the public light, that one will not be shaken because he knows who he is. He knows who sent him. He remembers the fire that built him when no one was watching. You've waited. You've obeyed in the dark. You've endured the silence, the pruning, the stretching. You've passed tests no one saw. You've carried burdens that would have crushed another. And now the air shifts, not because of your striving, but because it is time. And when it's time, nothing can stop it. No delay, no obstacle, no devil, no resistance, no doubt. When heaven opens its hand, earth must make way. What has been blocked is suddenly clear. What has been held back is suddenly released. What once seemed distant rushes toward you as if it had been waiting all along, because it was. God's plan is not linear. It is layered. It is not late. It is precise. And when all the pieces are in place, when your soul is ready, when the right people are aligned, when the platform is set, it will begin quickly, without warning. Like lightning from a cloudless sky. You don't have to push. You don't have to prove. You don't have to knock down doors because when it's time, doors open by themselves. I have placed before you an open door that no man can shut. That is not poetry. That is reality, and you will know it when it comes. The same room that ignored you yesterday will listen in silence tomorrow. The same people who doubted you will ask how you endured. The same path that felt blocked will feel as though it was paved just for you. And none of it will be by accident. The delay was never denial. It was design. God was not saying no, he was saying not yet. And when he speaks, now, no force in this world can hold it back. You won't have to chase it. It will meet you at the speed of alignment. This is why you endure the hiding. This is why you passed the test with less. This is why the enemy fought so hard to get you to quit at the edge. What's coming is not average. What's coming is not for show. It is divine, it is personal, and it is sealed in the hands of a God who knows exactly when to release it. So don't be surprised when it happens quickly. Don't doubt it because it doesn't match your timeline. Don't shrink back because it feels too big. You were built for this. And when the time comes, it will come with such force, such clarity, and such undeniable momentum that even the voices of doubt inside you will fall silent. Because the moment you are ready, and heaven says now, no man can block it. No system can delay it. No enemy can reverse it. When it's time, it will move, and you will know. You will not be the same. Look back for a moment, not with regret, but with revelation. Look at every door that didn't open. Look at the nights when no one answered. Look at the seasons where you felt forgotten, buried, invisible. Now listen closely. You were never being buried. You were being planted. You thought it was over, but it was only just beginning. You thought the silence was a sign to turn back, but it was the sound of heaven pulling the string taut just before releasing the arrow. God never forgot you. Not once. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. Every moment you thought was wasted, every prayer you whispered in exhaustion, every seed you planted in tears was counted, measured, and used. You were not stuck. You were being strengthened. You were not abandoned. You were being aligned. You were not waiting for nothing. You were being trained for something so exact, so specific, so deeply woven into your purpose that only God himself could design it. You were always being prepared for this. That's why the process was long. That's why the stripping felt brutal. That's why nothing else fit. No shortcut satisfied you. No detour gave you peace. Your calling had your name on it, and no matter how far you drifted, no matter how loud the enemy's voice became, God never rewrote your assignment. He simply waited for you to grow into it. And now you're closer than you've ever been. The fog is lifting. The ground is shifting. The voice that once felt silent is beginning to speak again, not in thunder, but in the calm, clear tone of a father who never stopped watching you rise. You have endured what most would not. You have stayed when others fled. You have obeyed when nothing made sense. And now you are not the same. You are steadier. You are clearer. You are no longer led by feelings, but by fire. The kind of fire that doesn't burn hot and vanish, but burns low, deep, and eternal. Because now, you don't just believe in the promise, you've become the kind of person who can carry it. You don't just want the blessing. You're finally ready to steward it. This was never about quick success. This was about building a life that the enemy can't shake, the storms can't wash away, and time cannot erase. You are the result of everything you thought was breaking you. But it wasn't breaking you. It was building you. So breathe, stand up, lift your head. Because it's not just coming, it's here. And you are ready. You are always being prepared for